Good afternoon, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. The next session of the annual general meeting of MASPAN is started. And to take this off the ground very quickly, we would like to recognize a few guests in our midst and then sit them appropriately before we would continue. Very distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the chairman of the Board of Trustees of MASPAN, Rear Admiral Francis Akpan, retired. You are in charge of this session, this ceremony, so we would like to respectfully invite you to join your special guests on this way. You'll be welcoming them as they come up. Can we give the chairman BOT a round of applause? Our special guests of honor, the Chief of the Naval Staff, Vice Admiral Awal Zubairu Gambo. We are told he's ably represented today, or should be ably represented today, by the Chief of Training and Operations at the Naval Headquarters. I'm talking about Rear Admiral Abraham Adaji. If he's We apologize for that break in transmission. As you saw, it was due to power outage. The Chief of the Naval Staff, we are told, is ably represented by Chief of Training and Operations at the Naval Headquarters, Rear Admiral Abraham Adaji. He's still been expected. Another special guest of honor at today's event is the Director General and Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, Dr. Bashir Yusuf Jamo. We are told he's today represented by his special assistant on communication and strategy, Mr. Ubong Essien. If he's here, please can you join the chairman BOT at this side of the hall. The acting managing director of the Nigerian Ports Authority, Mr. Mohammed Koko, is also a special guest of honor. He's still being expected. With us today is the representative of the Flag Officer Commanding Western Naval Command. I'm talking about Captain Usman Seidu. He's representing the Flag Officer Commanding Western Naval Command. Please, can you join the chairman of this side of the hall, please? Thank you. Of course, we are aware that the Flag Officer Commanding Western Naval Command is Rear Admiral B.J. Bassa. Thank you very much for honoring our invitation. Representing the Commissioner of Police, Lagos State, talking about CP Odubosu, we have the Deputy Commissioner of Police, Kontagora, who is representing him. Can you please join the chairman BOT at this side of the hall, please? Let's give a round of applause. A very erudite speaker tonight, to this afternoon, Captain Waredi Enuso, is also here with us. Captain Waredi, please, can you join us at this side of the hall? We would also not fail to recognize all the members of the Board of Trustees of MASPAN here present, especially the brand new one. I'm talking about Captain Alili, Can we give all of them a round of applause? The newly inaugurated Exco of MASPAN, led by Mr. Emmanuel. Can we also give a round of applause? They are all here. Distinguished members of MASPAN with their other representatives here present. Distinguished invited guests. Gentlemen of the press, ladies and gentlemen, you are welcome to the annual general meeting of the Maritime Security Providers Association of Nigeria, which has its theme today as Maritime Security Efforts in Nigeria, Government and Private Sector Partnerships. Before we get on with the event proper, can we please rise for the national anthem? Do we have the national anthem queued? Our DJ, do we have it? If not, we can sing it like we did earlier. Do we have it? Want to go, O God of creation, direct our noble course, guide our leaders right, help our youth the truth to know, in love and honesty to grow, and living just and great lofty heights attain, to build a nation where peace and justice shall reign. Amen. Let's be seated, please. Thank you very much, very distinguished ladies and gentlemen. As we are aware, we are here at the annual general meeting of the Maritime Security Providers Association of Nigeria, which has as its theme Maritime Security Efforts in Nigeria, Government and Private Sector Partnerships. It is not news to us the challenges in our maritime environment, where several government agencies have made concerted efforts, including private individuals and companies like yours, to eradicate the menace of piracy, sea robbery, and other crimes at sea. These challenges still persist. Today, we are going to be looking at a nexus, how the government and the private sector can collaborate to eradicate this menace. I can say without a doubt that there can't be any fitting theme for this session than we have today because of the impact and negative effect of the challenges we have out there in the sea on the nation's economy. Of course, someone is going to be talking to us about the details of these as we proceed with the program. But to welcome us very specially to this occasion, I'd like to respectfully invite the chairman of the Board of Trustees of MASPAN, retired Rear Admiral Francis Akpan, to please welcome us very warmly as we get this event underway. Chairman BOT, sir. Let's give him a round of applause as he rises, please.
Thank you very much, Master of Ceremony. Our special guests of honor, ably represented. Firstly, let me recognize our colleague in uniform, Commissioner of Police, Katangura, Let me also recognize representative of the FOC West, Captain Saidu. Captain Saidu is not only a captain, but is a pilot. We were the pioneer pilots, and I'm happy to have you in our midst. And of course, our gentlemen and our other guests of honor, we're happy to have you here too. But gentlemen, let me remind us that we just had an election of the ESCO to run the affairs of MASPAN for the next 2 years. It is on behalf of all of us that I want to congratulate those that we elected. So let me also now recognize the new ESCO of MASPAN. Let me further recognize the entire membership of MASPAN, distinguished invited guests, members of the press, ladies and gentlemen. It is my honor to make a very short remark, but to also emphasize that the buzz in town is maritime security, and I'll tell you why in a moment. The AGM for MASPAN is very unique in the sense that it chose a theme that's in consonance with the buzz in town. On the 23rd of June this year, I was privileged to be on a webinar for the inauguration of the president of Women in Maritime Association for West Africa and Central Africa. It was chaired by the Director General of International Maritime Organization. And my topic was, and of course the theme had to do with maritime security, not just for Nigeria's conference. Last week at the Nigerian International Maritime Summit, I spoke on maritime development, maritime domain awareness, again, as a panacea for national development. So it's not just the AGM that has recognized the need to discuss maritime security, but like I said, it's a buzz. And I'm happy that that has been identified by the executive committee and the planning committee for MASPAN, and it has, of course, been chosen as a theme, maritime security efforts in Nigeria, government and private sector partners. That in itself is very germane. Two things, and the reason why it is germane is that, firstly, government was elected to serve all, including the private sector. Government was elected by members of MASPAN to serve us and to meet with the tenants. And so, the private sector is always at the receiving end of whatever policy is turned out by government. So it is very important that government must engage the private sector in formulating and, of course, in implementing of policies. The last but not the least is that the private sector is the engine of development. In fact, people go up to say it is the only source and platform for development because government has no business in business. Those who have business in business are members of the private sector. And so the theme is germane for the final reason being that it is only in Nigeria where policies are churned out and the private sector that is supposed to implement these policies are not involved. I want to congratulate us and members of MASPAN for the theme. It is therefore my appeal that our discussion should be frank and to the point and must seek to enhance further cooperation between government and the private sector, especially with members of MASPAN. Let me tell you why it is important that the maritime sector be enhanced and developed. For the year 2020 GDP, Nigeria's GDP was 153 trillion naira. Going at the current exchange rate, it's about $400 billion. As contributors to the GDP, oil and gas, 8.9%. This is as per World Bank and, of course, endorsed by Nigerian Bureau of Statistics. Oil and gas, 8.9%. Agriculture, top of the pack, 24%. And the maritime subsector, 2.4%. The opportunities that avail itself in the maritime subsector are huge and enormous, especially when you look at the in-depth analysis of the blue economy. It means that those of us in maritime subsector have just scratched the surface. We have not gone any inch as to exploit the opportunities therein. It is hoped that with engagements like this, government policies will be tailored towards tapping the blue economy, enhancing your participation in the maritime subsector to bring about a lift in this very ridiculous contribution to GDP of 2.4%. I want to wish us very fruitful deliberation, and I want to thank all of us for coming, and welcome to the AGM of MASPAN 2021. Thank you.
Can we please give the Chairman BOT a better round of applause? He has provoked thought on the topic already, and I'm sure that with the man who is going to do the presentation, I'm sure to have a full meal this afternoon. Ladies and gentlemen, please permit me to do a little change in the program. That is the advantage that we masters of ceremony sometimes have, so that when you hold the microphone, you can make a few changes. I propose a few changes here, because while the technicians are trying to connect the speaker's laptop so that he'll project some of his thoughts for us to see and follow when he starts speaking, we would like to go quickly to another stage of this discourse, which would be the goodwill messages. I am told that the representative of the Chief of Naval Staff is out there, he's coming in. That is why the brand new president is outside waiting to usher him in properly. So we'll wait. He will also give his remarks. The other representatives of the agencies that I mentioned earlier are also being expected. But we have with us here the representative of the Commissioner of Police in Lagos State, whom I would like to respectfully call forward to give us a few goodwill remarks, maximum of 3 minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, with a round of applause, let's welcome DCP Kontagora to the microphone.
All protocols duly observed. Good afternoon, everyone. I wish to express my gratitude for the organizers of this event, and for finding it very important as well to invite the Commissioner of Police, the Nigerian Police Force, to be part of this important occasion. I therefore want to assure this gathering of our continuous support in our effort, or in our collective effort in fighting crimes and criminality, especially in the marine or maritime crimes, to protect lives and properties and to ensure security everywhere. We, the Nigerian police, we play a vital role, especially in this sector, in ensuring security. And as we are here, I pray we have a very successful deliberations that will actually achieve the desired objectives for which we are being gathered here. Thank you very much for coming together to discuss, and we pray all the decisions taken in this gathering will be very successful and achieve the desired objectives. Thank you very much, and you're welcome.
Thank you very much, DCP Kontagora, who is representing the CP Lagos State Command. I also like to call on the representative of the Flag Officer Commanding Western Naval Command, Rear Admiral Bassa. He is today being ably represented by Captain Usman Seidu. Captain Seidu, please, can you come over for the remarks of the Flag Officer Commanding? Can we give him a round of applause as he comes to the microphone?
The Chairman, Board of Trustees, the representative of the Commissioner of Police, our guest lecturer, other members of MASPAN here present. On behalf of the Flag Officer Commanding Western Naval Command, I stand here to say that first of all, there are a lot of my very senior bosses here present, and I was feeling a bit uncomfortable coming up to speak in their presence. So Rear Admiral Akpan was one of those who encouraged us to become pilots in the Navy as sub-lieutenants many years ago. Captain Alili retired here also, was the first commanding officer that took me to sea in 2003 on board NNS Kyanwa. Rear Admiral Bovaisa was my NAVSEC. I was S1 man in NHQ. So you can see why I'm a bit uncomfortable speaking here. But since I'm representing the FOC, permit me to just say, sir, I hope that the deliberations going on here will be one that is beneficial to not only the members of MASPAN, but the entire maritime security sector. As you all know, the Navy is a critical component of it. I'm presently a commanding officer on one of our seagoing ships. I'm always out at sea there, so I know exactly what's happening. Western Naval Command also has been very active in ensuring that Lagos, at least Lagos area, is quite safe. I'm sure you'll have also observed the decline in nefarious activities, so to say, in our waters, and we'll keep improving on it. So I hope that we'll have a very fruitful deliberation that will see to the prosperity of this organization. Thank you very much, sir.
That was a round of applause for Captain Seidu. Can we now give the round of applause to Rear Admiral Bassa, the FOC? Thank you very much. We're having, can we have the organizers come this week? We're having a bit of a challenge. We need to have the captain's presentation projected. And I've been on this matter. We need to project it. Otherwise, we'll lose a lot of debate in the presentation. It is important that we say, I know his presentation. They will come with graphs, diagrams, photographs. So if we don't see those things, we'll have challenges understanding the impact of his presentation very well. So we'll give us a few minutes. We'll get that out of the way very, very quickly. Very distinguished ladies and gentlemen, please pardon, bear with us. It's not, it wasn't something that we had envisaged, so we're trying to do a quick fix. While this is being done, tea has just been served. So if the ushers would assist us in an orderly manner, table by table, go get your tea, come back to the table. Before that is done, the lecture would have been underway. So ushers, please coordinate it very quickly, let's have tea while we get this thing sorted. Tea is going to be a maximum of 15 minutes, please. Thank you very much. It's there. Ushers, please coordinate. Let's have it in an orderly manner without noise. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, the arrival of the representative of the Chief of Naval Staff. We have with us the Chief of Training and Operations, Naval Headquarters, Rear Admiral Abraham Adaji. You're welcome, sir. Can we give him a round of applause? Those of us who have our hands free. Thank you very much. Like we stated earlier, he's representing the Chief of the Naval Staff, Vice Admiral Awal. Hello? Hello? Please continue with your work.
Perhaps you're a team leader producing an internal video to motivate your staff. Or you might be an advertising firm creating a public relations campaign to convince people that oil companies care about climate change.
Good afternoon,
Whatever
ladies
it is,
and gentlemen,
corporate
once
music
more.
has you covered. Because no matter the product...
Hello? Hello? Yes, thank you very much. Thank you very much for your patience with us while we were trying to sort this out. I believe that what we have done is better, so that wherever you are sitting, you will be able to follow the presentation properly as it progresses. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Before we go on to the keynote address, permit me, ladies and gentlemen, to recognize also in our midst, it was my error, to recognize a former flag officer commanding Western Naval Command, a former chief of trading and operations at the Naval Headquarters, a very, very senior naval officer, Rear Admiral Ferguson Bobai, retired. Can we give him a round of applause, please? Thank you very much. That's my bad. Thank you, thank you. We also have in our midst the General Manager of the Lagos State Waterways Authority. He's here in person, Mr. Oluwa Damilola Emmanuel. Let's give him a round of applause. You're welcome, please. At this point, what we've been waiting for, we'll now get to that point. Ladies and gentlemen, the keynote address on the theme of this very important AGM, Maritime Security Efforts in Nigeria, Government and Private Sector Partnerships. To do that for us this afternoon is none other than Captain Waredi Enuso. Captain Waredi Enuso, if you don't mind, can you please rise and stand there so that we'll see you? I have a very brief citation of this man who I prefer to call the double captain. He has captained everything on water and in the air. Gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, Captain Waredi Enuso started his maritime career as a deck cadet in the Nautical College of Nigeria, present-day Maritime Academy of Nigeria in Oron. He did his sea time with the then Nigerian National Shipping Line Limited, and later went to Egypt to obtain his unlimited second mate certificate of competency. After that time, he secured a job with the Pacific International Lines Limited of Singapore, what some people call pay is less. He later went to study aviation while studying for his unlimited Master's Class 1 certificate from the Australian Maritime College and obtained a certificate from the Australian Maritime Safety Authority. He left the Pacific International Lines of Singapore to serve both in the maritime and aviation industries in Australia. He was a lecturer, instructor, examiner while serving the Australian Maritime College before proceeding to work for the Australian Maritime Safety Authority. He was offered a position by Virgin Nigeria as an airline pilot in their jet fleet. Later, he joined the service of the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency as a deputy director and was later promoted director in charge of shipping development. His work experience spans through aviation, maritime safety, maritime intelligence, and shipping development. He worked for 8 years with the Pacific International Lines of Singapore. He has also been involved in hosted negotiations with Somali pirates and hijackers. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the man I like to call the double captain, Captain Waredi Enuso, for his presentation. Can we give him a round of applause as he steps up to the podium, please?
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry for all the interruptions and movements here and there. I didn't really prepare for this much intelligent crowd, but hopefully I'll have a lot to learn from you. And I would like to start this session with a true story in Nigerian waters. So at the end, you'll be able to appreciate what we're going to share and the possible recommendations we're going to make. We're actually going to delve into maritime security efforts in Nigeria, government and private sector partnerships. Some time ago, during my maritime career here in Nigeria, there was a ship called the Lady Elizabeth. Some of you may know that particular ship. Maybe the agents are here also. Its previous name was Donga Saline. It's a Liberian flag vessel. And it's an oil tanker. Small ship, not too big. That's how it looks. In a fully loaded condition, you can see how low she is with a freeboard of only 2.5 meters, which makes it very attractive for hijackers. Very, very attractive. And on one fateful night, these messages started running into my system at home. This is from the Lady Elizabeth. Alarmed everybody around the world. Lady Elizabeth under violent attack. I haven't edited this message. This is how it came. It was being pursued heavily and being fired upon. Those are just graphics to explain what was going on. I heard, good day, sir. We're under very violent armed piracy attack. Continuous firing, 8 pirates, fully loaded with weapons and ammunition. We are close to the area of Pennington oil field. Not much of a speed, 8.7 knots. 35 miles from the nearest coast. Informed the Navy on Channel 16. We are afraid pirates copying our message on VHF radio. Hence, we request all correspondence on this email. Please acknowledge safe receipt. We are in grave danger. We request immediate assistance and naval support for complete escort with safety. Mind you, this boat had on board 4 armed naval personnel escorting it. And as you all know, the Navy is the top of the food chain when it comes to maritime security. And since we were radioing the Navy, we were just monitoring in Nimasa. Because after all, we will also go to the Navy for help until they addressed this directly. Say, please, below is a message from the master. That means he wasn't getting help. And that is where we came heavily involved. Please, below is the last update from the master. The vessel needs an urgent assistance. We have only 4 naval armed guards which obviously is running out of ammunition at this particular point in time. They had almost shot out completely. There was barrages of messages going on. It was a very, very ferocious one. It wasn't easy. And they did give us a fair bit of sleepless night. The captain and his crew went into a very, very serious panic. And rightly so, because not until you get attacked by pirates, you don't know, or sea robbers, you don't know how it is. In fact, I had my own experience in Malacca Strait sometime in 1991, and my captain at that time almost lost his eye in that particular incident. So please be informed, and this is from me to them, that I'm in contact via sat phone. So for safety reasons, I told the captain to divert. Steer 180 degrees towards the Agbami because we know there will be security there. They'll probably protect him until we find something. While I arranged for the Nigerian Air Force to try as much as possible to arrange an aircraft so we can give surface air cover. And I learned something that particular night, and the reason we diverted the vessel was that when the forward operating base, the Central Naval Command was requested to help, they said they have no information that these 4 naval fellows were on board and they were crossing flag without notification. So they are not going to go and help them. And rightly so, because you never can tell what they are going to encounter. It's standard bureaucracy. Now, this is the surface picture of events. It's just my drawing of the Nigerian coast and my crude cartography. The intended voyage was for the vessel to proceed fully loaded with product from Lagos anchorage to Calabar. But what happened? Somewhere there, the voyage was truncated. They struck. That's where all the messages started coming. Plan A, forward operating base, Central. These were the exact advice. Unable to assist. They were not informed of 4 naval personnel on board the MT Lady Elizabeth crossing flag. I think that day I knew the meaning of crossing flag. The naval officers here will know better. Second plan, B. The Master Patrol vessel was within the area. I think it was the 24-meter one or something. And we advised the vessel to proceed immediately, direct to the location, and also steer towards the Agbami. But these guys were still chasing that particular vessel. Plan C, the vessel should not mind, go directly to the Agbami, FPSO. But guess what? 15 nautical miles from the Agbami, the vessel radioed. And the Elizabeth was warned by the security operatives at the Agbami not to come closer than 15 nautical miles within the FPSO. So you can see how disjointed we are when it comes to this maritime security business. Everybody seems to be protecting their territory. These guys had nowhere to go. I said, stay around the area, don't move. Stay within 15 miles. Guess what? At this point, we didn't have any choice. Put it this way, I did not have any choice than to play psychological warfare. First, I told the Master Patrol broadcast the following. MD Lady Elizabeth remained within 15 miles of the Agwami as ETA momentary. Second, we have visual contact with the attackers. Maintain course and speed. Third, we will be firing at the attackers shortly. Keep repeating this message that we will be firing at the attackers shortly. Guess what? Without firing a shot from the Nimasa security vessel, the attackers abandoned their mission and the vessel was saved. It was only psychological warfare. We did not even see them. But we didn't have a choice. We had to play this game. At the end, we got a message from the agent. Good day, Captain. Thanks for your prompt assistance. Regards, Bright. I don't know whether Bright is in this hall. Maybe, I don't know. The question is, was it just the prompt response or a system we just discovered works best in our peculiar environment? Let's take a good look. Let's take stock of it all. First, there was government, the incident, who is empowered by law to enter public-private partnerships. That saved the day. If not for the partnership they had with that private company whom we ordered to go out there, maybe the story would have been different. The government have abundant financial resources, no doubt, unlimited capacity to muster external resources. They do. Ability to coordinate various responses to maritime challenges, etc. And there was the partnership with the private sector, who were the owners of the patrol boat. The good thing about the private sector is that they are performance-driven, the ability to deliver above expectation, high capacity to expand their operations, adapt to the ever-changing environment without difficulty, highly professional staff, only limited by law. They have the capacity to operate 24/7 ETC. Now, I've seen MASPAN grow very rapidly in the face of the challenges we have. Make no mistakes. Somehow, somewhere, we are replicating things that are happening in even developed countries without knowing. The only thing is, how do we put this together? Even great nations, maritime nations like Australia, their greatest strength is in partnership with the private sector. And what we did there was to gather as much information about the private sector and place them on tiers. This incident made me put up this whole thing together. First, if you people come together, look at yourselves, look at your companies, and see how you can rate yourself based on what you have. You can also come up with something like this and propose to the Nigerian government through NIMASA and the Nigerian Navy. Based on your capability, these are just my own thinking, Category 1 and a Tier 1 operator in MASPAN contract terms, fixed. You have a fixed contract with the government. That does not mean you're not going to do private security. No. And this is how we do it in Australia. Assets in custody. You have both the government assets and your own assets also. And we split the assets in terms of their capability. So for those of the government, you will operate and also maintain. And you will also use them for private stuff. So in that way, you generate income and at the same time use the income to maintain. So what the government has to pay is going to be the difference of a back and forth, what is going on. Air assets, those who have the capacity to operate air assets for us, yes. We have a full-blown fleet. The Australian Maritime Safety Authority has a full-blown air fleet of Challenger aircraft. Because, out there, we monitor 1/10 of the Earth's surface, which is 52 million square nautical miles. And it will shock you to know that in the Australian Maritime Safety Authority, we are only 250 staff, taking care of 52 square nautical miles. We cannot do without private partnerships. It's impossible. So the whole air fleet is sourced out based on tiers. And guess who bought those aircrafts? The Australian Maritime Safety Authority. We bought them and gave them to the private sector to run under this tier system. It's better for us. Seagoing assets, yes, you have them in abundance within you at the moment. And this is how the contract goes. For air assets, if we have to put you on a tier 1, you should have the capacity to deploy within 15 minutes of call. Seagoing assets, 30 minutes maybe. Others, this is for you, ability to source and provide intelligence. Base operations for a tier 1, you should have some form of watch keeping because you got to operate 24/7. Your remuneration is fixed. You have to be paid. Tier 1, you have to be paid because you're literally working for government. Similarly, tier 2, contract is fixed again. But this time, it's just your asset. You're not operating any government asset. You're using your asset. You operate and maintain your assets based on the contract. Your air assets are supposed to be able to be deployed in 30 minutes of call. Sea assets, 60 minutes. Ability to source intelligence, essential, but not required. You have to have a base operation day only. Your remuneration is fixed too. Tier 3 operator. These are the ones we call assets of opportunity. When all fails, because you never can tell what will happen. Contract terms, pay per deployment. So if we use your asset, we pay. Assets in custody, all private. Capability, you have to operate and maintain. Capacity to deploy based on call. So if we call you, you should be able to go. Capacity to deploy within reasonable period of call. Others, not really required. It's available but not required. But remuneration is negotiable based on the kind of asset you offer. So why am I showing you all of this? If you add this type of thing to MASPAN, possibly take on ISO 2015, 9,000 or so, for various companies, you could put yourself on levels like this and make very, very good proposal, because this maritime insecurity issue, whether we like it or not, is here to stay. It's not going to go. And the government, with its bureaucracy, will not be able to solve the problem. Why did I say so? Those disturbing our waters have no bureaucracy. They do it at will. Some do it just because they can. Some do it because it is fun. But government does not operate because it is fun. So the only way out is one way or the other. You people and your great association will have to look beyond being individuals now. And these are the advantages. For the government, effective policing of your waters 24/7. So you can train the MASPAN members on intelligence gathering, assisting quick and effective decision making for you. Because for now, because you don't really have a direct connection with government, if you see something wrong, who do you contact? Who do you report to? I remember when I was doing my flight training in Australia, when I was going to become a pilot, one of the things in our flight training is to teach us from various airports, when we take off and bank, we should use the opportunity to look down at the Australian waters if any ship is doing anything wrong. And we can immediately radio the control tower. The control tower will immediately pass the message to the Australian Maritime Safety Authority. And before you know it, Air Services Australia is directly above the Australian Maritime Safety Authority. Coast Watch will deploy, and they are over the ship committing that particular crime. Very effective. Very, very effective. Helps in protecting and managing your waterborne resources. As at today, we are singing, I think, how the piracy situation has gone down. But nobody has asked the question, at what opportunity cost? At what opportunity cost has it gone down? But I'll tell you the truth. I grew up in the West. Nothing goes for nothing. Today, you have the Italian Navy, you have the Spanish Navy, you have the British Navy, you have the US Navy, and you have the Danish Navy. All are in our waters. What are they doing? Was this whole piracy thing for them to come back again and have a go at us or our resources? Because a lot of resources in various places are dwindling. Even the piracy situation you see. I don't know how many people follow the Hailu thing too or something like that. Was it really a piracy situation, or was it a deal gone wrong? Those guys who reported those Nigerians as pirates were themselves stealing Nigeria's fish. What are they doing in our waters? So with MASPAN, we can effectively monitor our waters properly. We just need to be very coordinated. Let's look at the benefits for the private sector. more efficient way of managing your assets. So you just don't deploy assets or allow your assets to sit down. You know the optimal amount of assets you need. Help your assets to schedule operations. You can also schedule your maintenance when you know what you are doing. You can attract good investors. You can keep a very healthy fleet, stronger capacity to expand, and you enhance your development. And just like the chairman, board of trustees did say, probably we're thinking the same thing when you mentioned improves GDP. We don't look at this GDP in the maritime sector at all. We don't. We are losing a lot in the maritime sector. One of Australia's greatest maritime strengths is public-private partnerships. Unfortunately, the providers of this service said, I cannot go online through the system. I wanted to show you that the only thing we do when it comes to assets in Australia is for the Auditor General to go and check whether they are functioning as per the PPP. I hope this stays with you. I hope it gives you something to think about. And I hope we come together and solve this particular problem. Thank you very much. Sorry, I had to rush this because I was told this is going to be for 30 minutes. I hope I didn't overshoot.
Can we give Captain Wardy another round of applause? Captain, may sit down, please. I know there will be some questions around what Captain Wardy has just shared with us. But before we do that, I'd like to respectfully, because I'm sure he had gone to use the restroom when we're taking the goodwill messages. The representative of the Chief of the Naval Staff, sir. Your goodwill message from the Chief of Naval Staff. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause, please, as we welcome Rear Admiral Abraham Adaji to the microphone.
I'm not projecting, so I want to be the visuals on the screen. The President, Maritime Security Practitioners Association of Nigeria, my very senior colleagues, serving and retired in the hall, members, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. The Chief of the Naval Staff had planned to be at this occasion, but he has had to send me to represent him because today he's on his way to the burial of one of our very distinguished senior officers who passed recently, Admiral Ndubuisi Kanu. And so I, Rear Admiral A.O. Adaji, has the opportunity to present the goodwill message of the Chief of the Naval Staff, Vice Admiral Awal Zubairu Gambo, Admiralty Medal, on this occasion of the Maritime Security Practitioners Association of Nigeria Annual General Meeting of 2021. The goodwill message of the Chief of the Naval Staff. I am delighted to be part of this auspicious occasion of the 2021 Maritime Security Practitioners Association of Nigeria Annual General Meeting, which has as its theme Maritime Security Efforts in Nigeria, Government and Private Sector Partnership. This theme is apt and offers all the opportunity to share ideas and explore ways of enhancing collaboration between government agencies and the private sector towards improved maritime security in Nigeria and indeed the Gulf of Guinea. The necessity of collaboration across agencies and sectors cannot be overemphasized, as no agency or country can solely address threats within the region's maritime space. The maritime industry, comprising activities such as shipping, fishing, and mineral resource exploitation, occupies a prominent position in Nigeria's quest for economic prosperity and development. The Gulf of Guinea is rich in resources and is also among the most strategic global sea lanes of communication. Out of the estimated 9 million barrels of oil produced in Africa daily, the Gulf of Guinea is responsible for about 4.5 million barrels, representing 50% of world production, of African production, and 11% of world production. This resource endowment has brought huge investments and increased shipping activities to the region. Expectedly, the increased economic activities have attendant maritime security implications. Some of the challenges posed include piracy, oil theft, illegal, unreported, unregulated fishing, smuggling, and a host of others. These challenges are quite daunting and adversely impact the ability of nations within the sub-region to optimally exploit the huge endowments for the development of their states and overall benefit of mankind. The Nigerian Navy, as lead agency in maritime security in Nigeria, has made tremendous efforts towards combating these maritime security threats. The service has also continued to refine its procedures in terms of strategy, operational concepts, and doctrinal practices to remain effective in the ever-changing maritime security threat scenario. The Nigerian Navy recognizes that ensuring maritime security can only be realized through collaboration and synergy of efforts of all stakeholders. Hence, interagency cooperation and regional collaboration is one of the pillars of Nigerian Navy operational engagements. In line with this, the Nigerian Navy constantly engages various stakeholders to enhance maritime security and also supports regional efforts towards collective maritime security. At the regional level, the Nigerian Navy holds a biennial International Maritime Conference and regional sea exercise in demonstration of its commitment to further multilateral collaboration. After an inaugural exercise Opiatoha in 2016, exercise Ekukugbe, involving over 17 ships and aircraft from 7 different countries within the Gulf of Guinea, was held in May 2018 as part of the International Maritime Conference and Regional Maritime Exercise 2018. At the 2018 conference, participating navies agreed to harmonize all maritime security initiatives and legal frameworks through the establishment of a common mechanism for information sharing. Though the 2020 edition of the International Maritime Conference and Maritime Exercise could not hold because of the restrictions imposed by the COVID-19 pandemic protocols. Efforts are in top gear to organize the next conference, which is scheduled for 2022. And it is hoped that this will consolidate on the achievements recorded thus far. The opportunities for joint training offered by various multinational exercises, such as the US-facilitated exercise of Bangame Express and the French Navy-organized exercise NEMO, have steadily improved capacity for collective response to security challenges in the Gulf of Guinea. These interregional efforts have recorded modest gains in respect of curbing insecurity within the Gulf of Guinea, thus improving maritime trade and commerce across our respective countries. The Nigerian Navy also engages regularly with stakeholders and has taken measures to enhance law enforcement within the maritime domain. One positive outcome of our consultations is the adoption of the harmonized standard operating procedures on arrest, detention, and prosecution of vessels and persons in Nigeria's maritime environment in January 2017. The harmonized standard operating procedure brings together partners in maritime security with the aim of deepening synergy through proper understanding of each other's roles. These partners include the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, Nigerian Police Force, the Nigerian Customs Service, and the Nigerian Immigration Service, amongst others. The fight against maritime crimes has also been boosted by Mr. President's assent to the Suppression of Piracy and Other Maritime Offenses Bill of 2019. Pertinently, the Act facilitated the conviction and sentencing of 10 pirates to 12 years in prison by the Federal High Court, Lagos, in July 2021. Indeed, the Act demonstrates the government's resolve to combat piracy within the region and change the global negative perception of the Gulf of Guinea as a haven for maritime insecurity. The Nigerian Navy also collaborates with the Interpol in the interdiction, investigation, and prosecution of maritime crimes. Indeed, as we speak, the Navy, in collaboration with the Interpol and the Drug Law Enforcement Agency, has succeeded in interdicting about 32.9 kilograms of cocaine that has just been brought from South America in the Lagos ports. The Nigerian Navy partners with private maritime logistics support companies for the protection of critical offshore maritime assets. This synergy is based on shared responsibility between the partners. The private maritime logistics support companies provide platforms which the Nigerian Navy mans for discharge of maritime security duties. This collaborative arrangement emerged as a result of the inadequacy of ships to cover the vast expanse of Nigeria's maritime environment. It is pertinent to note that this measure has yielded positive results in covering gaps in the protection of shipping as well as assets in Nigeria's offshore oil and gas industry. At this juncture, permit me to congratulate the Maritime Security Practitioners Association of Nigeria for choosing the all-important theme of collaboration in this year's annual general meeting. I also thank you for giving me the opportunity to present this goodwill address. Permit me to conclude by once again reiterating the commitment of the Nigerian Navy to emplacing a secure maritime environment for the prosperity of Nigeria in collaboration with you, our stakeholders. I wish you a fruitful and rewarding deliberation. Thank you all, and onward together.
I'm sure that round of applause was for Rear Admiral Adaji. Let's give the CNS a round of applause. Thank you very much. We have with us, permit me to introduce a very important guest, Mr. Elisheku, representing the Department of State Services. Let's give him a round of applause of welcome. Commodore D.F. Matthew, the Command Operations Officer of the Western Naval Command, is also here with us. He is representing the Flag Officer Command. Let's give him a round of applause, please. Before we proceed, even in discussing or making contributions to the paper, the presentation made by Captain Waredi, I'd like to introduce to us this book. I'm sure some of us have seen it before. An Admiral's Compass, written by our own Chairman, Board of Trustees, Rear Admiral Francis Akpan, retired. It was recently launched, and some of these things, especially personal experiences where he was in service, I'm sure have been documented here, and if you have them, it will do all of us a world of good. I'm told the copy is 20,000 naira only. And for people who deal in maritime security, maritime operations, and earn in dollars, I think 20,000 naira is chick feed, I'm sure. Thank you very much. At this juncture, I would like to, if there are any comments on the presentation by Captain Waredi, no, you can't come and provoke thought like that, and then there will be no comment. I saw many of us taking notes furiously. I'm sure some were supposed to be questions or perhaps contributions to the paper. So if there's anyone, the microphone will go around now just for 5 minutes so that we can round things up here. Anyone with any comment, any recommendation, any addition, or even questions. But if we don't, that is also fine. I hear when it's afternoon, this is past 2. It's well past lunchtime for many of us. So it will be in order if we can't talk now because of issues regarding the middle section of the human anatomy. That will be fine. We have had to, the committee has been, executive committee has been inaugurated. I don't know if the Chairman Board of Trustees will want to show them to this whole house. That was a closed session for only members of MASPAN. But this is a whole house now. Maybe at the right time, the chairman would do that. But I'm told that we are going to have a brief presentation by Penguin. I hope I pronounced it correctly. I don't know if that's animal in the sea that is coming to make the presentation, but the whale. We have with us, permit me to introduce also representing the President General of the Maritime Workers Union, Comrade Adeyanju. He's been represented here by Comrade Fumi Fason. Can we give him or her a round of applause? Thank God. Thank you very much, madam. At least I said him or her. It ended up being a her, because women don't take those things easily. Thank you very much, ma'am. You're welcome. So, Penguin, are we ready? Very quickly, I'm told you have 3 minutes to make your presentation. Then we'll move on to the next item.
3 minutes. I think I can do that. I have a presentation that's supposed to come up. Yeah, there should be a presentation that I passed down. So my name is George. I am from Penguin. It's a company in Singapore. Nothing to do with the animal, I'm afraid, but we are a shipyard and a ship operator. We owe quite a lot to the Nigerian market. We have about 80 security vessels sold to this market. And our vessels, I would say, at least I'd like to think, is a bridge between the private sector and the public sector. The flex fighters, we call it, which is the security boats that we operate, are owned by private individuals, private companies, but the Nigerian Navy personnel actually serve on both those vessels. So owned, operated, maintained by private companies, with the Nigerian Navy on board. So I'm sure the Rear Admiral may have heard comments from his men about how comfortable the boats are. I'm not sure. But, sorry, this presentation should be coming up any second now.
I don't think this will be in a second. We can't find the tech guy.
Yeah? Okay. A couple seconds. Is that eating into my 3-minute time? I'm not too sure, Yeah? So, I mean, Nigeria is like a second home at this point. I come here every 1 or 2 months to meet the owners who buy our boats, and all of them are quite almost like family at this stage. And if you drive along Lagos or especially Port Harcourt, you should see a lot of our vessels just at the various jetties over there. But, the tech guys are really taking some time.
Mr. George,
Yeah.
we apologize. We may have to give you another 3 minutes. We'll skip to the next thing.
No problem, no problem. Let me come off. I'll come back in a few minutes.
Okay, I was thinking you would need a crane to drop you from that, please.
Okay, at this point, the guy operating the projector stepped out, so even though they have the presentation, it wasn't on at the time, so he needs to come and work on it before the... At this time, I would like to invite the chairman of the Board of Trustees of MASPAN to introduce the brand new executive committee that he inaugurated a few hours ago during the annual general meeting for this house to see. The chairman, sir.
Thank you. Very able master of ceremony. Could I have Mr. President Emmanuel Mugua, the Vice President, the Treasurer, Madam Financial Secretary, and Publicity Secretary, please. Please put your hands together for them. I think it's auspicious that we introduce members of the new ESCO that will run MASPAN for the next 2 years. Firstly, we had a very representative of the Chief of Naval Staff, Admiral Adaji. We had a very transparent election, which was in-house. It was clear that this is the team, the A team, that will lead the association for the next 2 years. I'll ask the President to introduce members of his executive committee. Mr. President.
Thank you very much, Chairman. Permit me to stand on already established protocol. My name is Emmanuel Maigua. I was the General Secretary, now the President, and I would like every member of the committee to introduce themselves. I'm yet trying to still get familiar with them before I crucify someone's name.
My name is Temesa Freedom. I am a retired Commodore from the Nigerian Navy. And my last appointment in the Navy was Director of Air Operations. I'm also into academics. Currently, I'm running my PhD in Ibadan. Thank you.
My name is Amanyebe. I'm the current Managing Director of Protection Plus. I'm the General Secretary.
My name is Oladipo Rebecca Julius. I was the former Financial Secretary, and I'm the Financial Secretary again. Thank you.
My name is Aligbe Andrew. I am the MD, CEO of Jealous Marine Services Nigeria Limited. I am presently the Public Affairs Secretary.
Okay. I am Taiwo Bodurin. I am the Head of Safety and Security, C&I Leasing PLC. I am the current Welfare Secretary of MASPAN.
Thank you, Chairman.
And so to our very guests, our stakeholders, with no iota of being so specific, Nigerian NIMASA, Nigerian Maritime Safety and Administrative and Safety Agency, the Nigerian Police, and of course, the Nigerian Navy. These are going to be members of our team. You would have realized that all of them are really head of the organizations. And because about 80% of members of MASPAN have MOUs with the Nigerian Navy, we are humbled that the Chief of Naval Staff not only sent the goodwill message, but sent the Chief of Training and Operations in the person of Rear Admiral Adaji, Abraham Adaji, who has come himself to witness this August occasion. Abraham, please take back to the set felicitations and gratitude for finding it important to network with us and to come and grace our occasion. We're indeed very grateful. To the rest of us, you heard Captain Weridi. I've had a taste of his pudding sometime in July when I was holidaying in Lagos. And I think we should take home the impact of his short dissertation. I wish he came with the full salvo of what he has done to enhance maritime domain awareness. But I believe also that the last time I did tell him that the Nigerian Navy has had its Falcon Eye commissioned by Mr. President, Commander-in-Chief. I wish you went into what you had been doing so that Adaji could have assisted you to bridge those gaps. There's a new appeal in town, Admiral Adaji. The private sector wants to know what capacities you have. There was a conference last week, summit last week, called the Nigerian International Maritime Summit. And most of them were players in the industry. I gave them a little talk on maritime domain awareness and national development. And we all discovered that most of them don't have time to watch TV, so they don't even know what's going on, because at night they're calculating their dollars. But it looks like they're now crying out that the Nigerian Navy must find some time to put on platforms, to put on TV, the various capacities that they have, like the Falcon Eye, the Aromac, even the Aromac that you have in MP and Nimasa. Some of them have never heard of it before. And that they will be very happy for you to find time and appear on TV and explain the capacities of the Navy so that they can have an insight as to what aspect, because they were stunned to find that the whole essence of what Captain already told us, what has brought down piracy is the fact that the Nigerian Navy has the capacity to look at the maritime domain from Cameroon to Togo 24/7. That is why piracy has gone down. It's been no magic. That is what has happened. They are now more there. They now have their eyes out there, and they are watching over the maritime space. But because the Nigerian Navy, where I also came from, it's a very conservative institution, they don't talk too much. But the public seems to be saying, please, Admiral Adaji, talk to us. They want you to talk more to them about what you have, and they will all appreciate you. Having said that, and having seen the executive, I'd like them to take over. Please give them a round of applause. Because I know that Admiral Adaji is going to respond to what I've just said. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. It's really not a response, but I don't think Captain Waredi would have done anything different if he had 2 hours. In the time he had delivered a very, very punchy and all-encompassing paper. And I think by leaving us with those insights for us to reflect over, he has done very well. When he was doing his presentation, he gave a story, and what became evident from the maritime security situation is how people were maintaining their turfs. So I've rightly observed that the Nigerian Navy is conservative, perhaps rightly so. And if not for the compartmentalization of maritime security activities, the master should have been doing the business of telling the world what the Navy is doing, because they are responsible. But rather than do that, they want to bring out themselves to the front. And I think this is a travesty. They have all the resources they have the responsibility, being the arm authorized to administer maritime safety and also to interact with the civil industry. So as a department of government, I urge NIMASA to carry out the message that this is what is happening. He aptly illustrated the example in Australia. Everybody works together, even having representation in a common maritime headquarters, where issues emerging are not relayed to somebody outside, but are treated immediately by relevant agencies and departments. And if NIMASA had keyed into that, would have been operating from the same floor of the Falcon Eye project. And then would save time, would save resources, and all of that. It's a learning process. A lot of things are happening, like he observed. Some of the developments have not been planned. But what is becoming obvious is that there is need for collaboration, not just between the private and public sector, but even amongst government agencies and departments. And we are working as a Navy, not to highlight the differences or the frictions, but to close ranks with all stakeholders in government so that Nigeria can enjoy a safer and conducive maritime environment for economic activities. The representative of the Flag Officer commanding Western Command is just coming because he has had to attend to a press briefing regarding the seizure that I highlighted during the presentation. This was made possible by information that was availed Nigeria by the Interpol. And the transit of the vessel was monitored with the Falcon Eye. And with that, as the vessel arrived at our waters, the Nigerian Navy was able to intercept. The ship protested and denied that there was nothing. But lo and behold, the drugs were concealed in the, not even the cargo hold, but in the bunker tank. Yes. But working together, the Nigerian Navy, the Interpol, the police, the Drug Law Enforcement Agency, they were able to address this. And that is the important thing. It's not just a success for the Navy or the Drug Law Enforcement Agency or the Interpol, but a lot is possible if we work together. And that is why, once again, we are grateful to MASPAN for choosing collaboration as the theme for this year's annual general meeting or conference. There is a lot to do, but much more could be achieved if we embrace synergy and collaboration. It's frightening, but he has said maritime insecurity will not go away. And what it means is that MASPAN also will not go away. A lot of people struggled with us. They felt we were commercializing security and making money from it. Now they know better. NIMASA has strayed into vessel acquisition and all that. There are issues with how these vessels will be maintained and operated going forward. So we all have to maximize capacities that are available and yield ground to those that are positioned to better provide the services. And clearly illustrated the advantages both to government and private sector, utilizing the key capacities and characteristics of these agencies. I've taken a lot of time, but just that I respond to his lecture. Thank you very much. We are privileged to have you, experienced double captain like our MC said, not just in the maritime sector, but in the aviation sector. And you are here. I believe that your experience will be very, very useful going forward in refining some of the rough edges in our architecture. Thank you once again, Captain.
Thank you very much, Rear Admiral, for that, for the response to all of that. And yes, sir, You didn't take too much time. You are on the government part. A lot of us here are private sector. The point is we came to collaborate. So you are making the right points. Can we give him another round of applause, please? Before we formally close, Penguin will give you a fresh 3 minutes, quickly. Can you come up? Thank you very much. He's one of our sponsors that made sure this thing has been put together. Please come up.
Thank you, sir. So I'll just run through this quick presentation on that, like I said, that bridge between the public and private partnership. So first, just a brief background on Penguin. You can go to the next slide. Yeah. So we're a smallish company based in Singapore, founded in 1976 as a ferry operator. So today we design, build, own, and operate vessels. And like I said, Nigeria is a pretty big market for us with 80 vessels, 80 flex fighters in Nigeria, where private owners buy the vessels, Nigerian Navy serve on board. So, and I mean, this has worked out very well for us. And I'm going to jump through, I'm going to talk through a little bit about the flex fighter in the coming slides. So we have 2 shipyards, one in Singapore and one in Batam. Go to the next slide. This is our Singapore yard. I think some companies here may have been to it. I know Protection Plus has visited us a couple years back. Then we have our Batam yard where our flex fighters are mainly produced. And this is the larger facility we have where all those workshops there, those are where those Nigerian boats are built and sent over here. Next slide. This is the Flex Fighter Max. I'm sure some of you, at least some of you would have seen this around Nigeria. We have, again, 80 vessels here. So Port Harcourt is the main base where these vessels operate. And I'll go to the next slide. So, they've been designed by us. They are a security boat, but we've always thought that the Nigerian security situation will improve. The situation in the Gulf of Guinea will improve. So we've made the boat a little bit of a hybrid. She can also do crew changes. She can carry cargo. She can do all this for the oil companies, not only as a pure security boat. So she has 54 passengers, seating capacity of 54 passengers. She can sleep 12 Navy personnel, and she can do about 28 knots. Keep going. So since I have only 3 minutes, I'm going to run straight to the pictures. Keep going. Up, next slide, next slide, next slide. Yeah, so the idea behind the boat is, again, crew boat and security boat. So on the wheelhouse, she's completely ballistic protected. The glass is ballistic. Those panels you see bolted down there also ballistic. They have gun mounts forward and aft for the Nigerian Navy personnel to protect, vessels that they're escorting or the oil fields. Next slide. This is the bridge. Going. We have a fuel track system for fuel monitoring. This is the cargo deck. So like I said, she's not only for security. If and when the security situation improves, we will have this vessel as a pure crew boat for the oil companies. This is the interior. So while on the right side of this picture, you actually have bunks for Navy personnel to sleep. We have 54 seating capacity for crew changes for the oil companies. This is the passenger lounge we have where the Nigerian Navy can sit, congregate, and enjoy themselves. This is a deck command center that we inbuilt on the main deck where the Nigerian Navy actually can plan out their operations. So what we have done is the bridge remains the sole domain of the crew. So the crew are up on the bridge, the masters up on the bridge. They have all their navigation equipment, and we kept the equipment for the Nigerian Navy separate. So the Navy personnel would actually sit in this deck command center. They still have access to the radar, to the CCTV, to VHF. So that there is that separation between the vessel crew and the naval crew. This is the cabin for security personnel or the Navy personnel. These are the showers on board. We have a gun locker, which can fit the AK-47 arms that the Nigerian Navy actually carry around. This is the crew cabins, which is below main deck. So the Navy actually sleeps on the main deck, and the crew go below deck. This is the mess area, which is used jointly by the Navy and the crew. We have capacity on board, which allows for about 1 month of food and fresh water and fuel. This is the engine room. We use Caterpillar engines, which is, they have decent support in Nigeria. Three Caterpillar engines, 3 Caterpillar generators as well. This is the fuel monitoring system. Fuel theft, unfortunately, is a problem in Nigeria, so we use fuel trucks, which basically calculates amount of fuel going out, amount of fuel going in, and if there is any discrepancy, it gets reported to the office. Few exterior shots. Again, the main deck, while not ballistic, but that's where the Navy personnel sleep. But the bridge is completely ballistic. So in case there is a situation, everybody goes up to the bridge. The bridge acts as a citadel, and the Navy can use the gun mounts on the forward and aft to actually deter pirates away. So the vessel would escort larger bulk carriers or tankers, like that incident the double captain spoke about. If they had an escort vessel, it would have been unlikely that there would be a piracy attack. And I think a majority, or at least a large amount of merchant vessels that come into Nigeria or come into the Gulf of Guinea use either a flex fighter or another security boat to escort them into the country. So I have not heard of any armed escort vessel being attacked, and I don't think any vessels that have been escorted have been attacked as well. Those are just a few pictures. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to leave you with a video of the flex fighter, but I just want to put out there that we are quite proud to be a part of MASPAN and to be a part of improving the security situation. We play a very small part. Of course, the Navy and, of course, the private operators and the security companies have done most of the heavy lifting, but we're happy to have supported that from the back end. I'll just play that video now. I think I took more than 3 minutes.
Thank you very much. No, you did 3 minutes, exactly. You did 3 minutes. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for that presentation. Gives us an idea of what the flex fighter looks like. At this point, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I would like to respectfully invite the, no, not president-elect this time, the president of MASPAN, Mr. Emmanuel Migua, he didn't accept it at that time formally, but to now do a formal acceptance speech and give all of us a vote of thanks. I am told that lunch is served at the restaurant at the Signature Restaurant on this same building, but we'll get tickets to go there and get lunch before we proceed home or to our various offices. Mr. President, this is your opportunity. You give us a vote of thanks and formally accept your election. Let's give him a round of applause. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, I understand Silverbird is still showing movies, so it will come up after, right? Thank you very much. The representative of the Chief of Naval Staff, Rear Admiral Daji, who is the Chief of Training and Operations, our distinguished special guest, Chairman Board of Trustees of MASPAN, members of the Maritime Security Providers Association of Nigeria Executive Committee and general members, as well as all invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. I have not prepared a speech, but I will give a speech. A speech is a speech. I try not to prepare a speech so someone's opinion doesn't find its way into the speech. I find out every time I prepare a speech, someone will say, don't say this, say that. It's not appropriate. I'm not Trump, but I will try as much as possible to say what I have that is original, my speech, unedited. I would like to accept this responsibility given to me, I would say, by the entire MASPAN family, with all the energy you have known me to possess. And I am sure, and with the confidence bestowed on me and the caliber of members of the Executive Council that are committee that are going to be joining, we will drive the agenda of MASPAN. As the chairman of the BOT has rightly said, that we can't let the bar go down. whenever we call for an event like this, the support. We have traditional members of MASPAN that are not registered in our registry, but they are members of MASPAN, the Nigerian Navy. You can see the office of the FOC has sent us 2 redneck officers. Abuja did not forget us. The retired command, I will call them that way, are all over the place. The Department of State Security or Security Service, they have always attended our annual general meeting. The Maritime Workers Union, we are all maritime workers. So if anybody has not paid dues here, please, except the government workers, you have the right to ask for dues. Nigerian Ports Authority, you have been very supportive. The Nigerian Police, my friend, the Deputy Commissioner of Police, Kwantagora, I met him in Abidjan on a visit. I think Amma may not remember when we were in Abidjan, and Oga here was with the Interpol, and he took care of us at that moment. Yeah, so you were missing in action. MASPAN has been defined by different organizations in their own ways. But MASPAN is an association or an umbrella body of private maritime security companies. Now, we have members that are involved in security, consulting. We have members that are involved in security training. We have members that are involved in procurement process, supply chain, things that have to do with technology. We have members that are also recognized security organizations under the auspice of the International Ship and Port Facility Code. So training institutions are also part of MASPAN, and we have one of the small but loudest elements of MASPAN, which is the private maritime security companies that use one of these assets that you have seen here. So in case we hear MASPAN, let us not zero it on the forum of the private maritime security companies, which, by the way, the relationship with them and the Nigerian Navy does not recognize them as a security company, but as a logistics support partner. That does not take away the basis of who they are, security companies. But for the purpose of that relationship, they can be recognized as logistic partners. What we are doing may seem like what I came across when I went to Maritime Academy. I saw it in Benin when I was young. My parents are civil servants, and when I went to Benin, so caskets all over the places. I didn't understand why there are caskets all over the places. Because back then in the north, nobody think of casket until somebody dies. And it takes maybe 2 hours to produce one wood for the person to be put inside. So I was still trying to reconcile, but I saw it from a distance and I was young. When I found myself in Maritime Academy, I saw on the street everyone building caskets. Like, are people dying here so much that they have to keep building caskets? So I mentioned that, and someone said, no, they build it and they put it on display to sell. So casually I said, if this man is someone who really believes in prayer for his business to flourish, what will be his prayer point? So then I kept quiet in the car and I kept thinking. And I was thinking, asking the question and answering the questions myself, because I didn't want to have that conversation beyond that level so I don't appear foolish. And then one of the questions I asked myself, okay, the police. Why are the police here? Is it that the government wants crime to keep happening, and that's why they are training police? They are building a very robust police system. But I later came to, not that day anyway, over time came to the realization that the nature of a human being is that which create problems. If we don't create problems, we will not be able to exist. In fact, we will not like it. For no reason, I can decide to be a farmer. I may not be eating yam, but I may decide that it is yam that I want to farm. The next person may decide that it is beans that he wants to produce, but he may not be an eater of beans. And the point is, there is exchange. There is a problem, there is going to be hunger, just like there is going to be death, we will die. So the fact that you build casket, the answer which I did not provide, but I know it ran through your mind, that the man's prayer would be, let there be more death, would have been wrong. But he is a solution provider. He recognized that people will still die regardless. And there are people who die and buried without the casket. But he can produce a casket, and that casket looks so fine. And the next thing that will start happening is another person will produce a casket, finer than his own, but at a very lower price. So he becomes a solution provider, making it easy for people to get casket of various sizes. So when my dad died, I was actually getting pictures of casket to select within the next 5 minutes, and I made that decision fast while in Lagos. And that is what I want us to understand. MASPAN is here not because there is insecurity. None of these companies, most of our members didn't start because of insecurity. Started providing vessels for passengers, some of us. But the problem came, and we have to provide solutions. Now, there are entrepreneurs, investors who seek opportunity. There is insecurity, it favors them, they invest. But this is not what MASPAN members are all about. What we do in MASPAN is to provide solutions to enable shipping to thrive. Shipping is a very lucrative business. First, it earned its position today because of its comparative advantage, the ability to carry large volume of cargo at a very reduced rate. That is it. It's not fast. The plane will do it better. The cars will probably do it better, but they cannot access the sea. If the world can build a route from here across the Atlantic Ocean to America, but it will not carry volume at a competitive rate. Now, we must not allow shipping lose that value by just coming in to provide escort vessels. We must provide solutions that are cost-effective. Now, we understand that there is the Nigerian Navy on the other side. We want to understand what the Nigerian Navy is doing. The act that empowers the Nigerian Navy actually gave it the responsibility to complement the effort of the MASA in respect to maritime security, in respect to custom regulations, in respect to drugs and narcotics and immigration. They have all that responsibility to support. But they all individually, between NIMASA, Nigerian Navy, and NPA, they have their limitations. MASPAN goal here is to understand what the Nigerian Navy can do, to what level, what they have been able to do at the moment. We understand what NIMASA is doing. We understand what the Nigerian Ports Authority is doing, because we understand shipping better. I have been sitting in my office as the Chief Executive Officer of my company from January. You probably all came to your office in the last 1 year, and you will leave maximum 3 years. The person that will come to your office will need to learn and understand what's going on in your office. But I have a bunch of knowledge and information right from 2011 to this moment, sitting as the CEO of BRICS, also being part of MASPAN, going through this process over and over again. There is no resources better than an organization like this. But what we need to do is to understand what the Nigerian Navy is doing, understand what NIMASA is doing, And that way we will be able to provide that solution that will help us manage the security crisis in our water in such a way that shipping will not be too expensive in Nigeria. And when you take the next step, just easily to another water, it's cheaper. I remember there was, I don't know if, I hope I'm not talking too much. You gave me the mic, and now I'm president, so. Chair, but you will miss the lunch. There was a time we were supplying fresh water for, okay, let me permit you to go so I can quickly, let me wrap up before you go, sir. There was a time fresh water was supplied in Nigerian anchorage for 67 naira per ton. I mean $67 per ton. It's 6 hours to sail, the speed of about 10 knots to get to Cotonou. And that's your way out anyway. But in Cotonou, the same fresh water was going for $6. Now, I'm just giving you an example of how things can be expensive. So the ships started taking their supplies from Cotonou. They started carrying out their crew changes in Cotonou. Everything becomes easier to be done in Cotonou. Let us be wary of the competition that we have. If we make things so expensive in this place, it can be gotten easily. We had to fight Cotonou to be able to recover that. We don't need to fight by shutting the border. The moment we shut the border, Cotonou port became empty. Now it's coming back. It's becoming a feeder port for West Africa, Cotonou and Togo. Now, I don't know if you are aware in shipping, I mean, the way shipping is going today. In the future, deep sea port is the future because ships are becoming bigger. The ability to access the port is reducing. If we don't get to provide solutions cost effectively, we will lose a lot. And when we lose a lot, we will be staring each other. Unfortunately for people like me, I may be too old to turn to a criminal or a pirate to start going to the sea. So our message to the chief, we will come. But I believe before we come, we will receive an invitation so that the stakeholders can come and meet the Navy. We can come to Abuja, anywhere. We'll force our members to pay money, buy tickets. We'll go to Abuja, sit down with the Nigerian Navy, and understand what the Nigerian Navy is doing. It seems there are a lot of development that we are not aware. And we can advise. We can also talk about the solutions we have. We have a lot in terms of intelligence. And for me, the goal is to direct MASPAN with your support to a point where this association will be a solution provider. It is not to take advantage of insecurity in Nigerian waters. It's to see our members becoming the solution to global maritime security problems. We use BIMCO contracts today to carry out coastal security in Nigeria. That should not happen. Even if it has to happen, MASPAN has to be on board. There was a time the international shipping community developed the BMP West Africa, which is the best management practice. West Africa. That's for maritime security. We were not aware. They came here, they wrote to the Nigerian Navy to make contribution, wrote to NIMASA to make contribution. Those contributions were not made, so they gave us a document which guides the international shipping on how private companies should operate and interact on the aspect of security in our waters. We showed this document to all the people we know in the government, and they agree that it does not serve the interests of Nigeria. But those international people came in and asked for recommendation. So what I want MASPAN to do, and I believe my ESCOs agree with me, that we must be part of the global solution, not just for West Africa, but just that we have to start from our home. And that will be the mission in the next 2 years. We will give you a report in the next AGM. We will invite you, sir. We will invite everybody that is seated here and more. So thank you very much for coming. We have lunch at the restaurant, I believe, right, in the Signature. So please, when we go there, let us eat, and discuss. I can see the number has reduced, so that's good. I can have 2 rations. Thank you very much.
Let's make the applause louder. That was Mr. President. He was supposed to do 2 minutes. He took 10. It's the exco I'm sorry for. Because when you enter your meetings, you could do 24 hours. I'm sure you have the capacity. Very distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you very much for honoring us at this event and to formally notify all of us that the 21st 2001 AGM of MASPAN has formally closed. I want to thank you for allowing me to be part of this event. Thank you very much. Photographs. This uniform, arrange the photograph. Members of EXCO, please join the photograph. EXCO members, join the photograph, please. Hello? I am to correct that the restaurant is not our signature. It's called Prime Restaurant somewhere. If you will leave now, we will find the place. Thank you.